everyone, I hope you're all doing so well and having an amazing week. And welcome to this oil painting session and to chat about some funny art stories. Also, there will be an oil painting time-lapse of this dragon oil painting at the end of this video. I do hope you like. This week's weekly shout out goes to Teja Artists, an absolutely incredible channel. I will leave a link below. And if you would like to be featured in my weekly shout out, all you have to do is comment, subscribe, and press the bell. This week I thought I would make a fun chatty video about some really funny kind of disasters that I have had in the art world. The story begins when I was exhibiting in a really fancy, swanky gallery in London, central London. It's a beautiful gallery, and whenever I exhibit I try to get super organised. If you've never exhibited before, there is a day just before the gallery is about to open where all the artists drop off their artwork, and usually it's in the morning, and then the curator comes, looks at all the art, makes sure that it's all properly framed, has the proper hanging requirements on it, and that it's all in really good condition. So it sounds like it would be straightforward, but it can be difficult. It's quite straightforward, but it can be difficult. So I had everything ready and everything was going really well. I was all completely organised, as I always am, because I think it's so important before you are exhibiting to lower the stress. And this is something that I did not predict. I basically took one of my paintings out of the box in which I was going to transport it in, just to have one final look. And this was the 2 days before I was supposed to be exhibiting, or rather drop off my work. And I pulled the painting out with one hand just to get another look, and I went like that, or rather the frame went snap and flew across the room.
Oh no.
I was just shocked because the frame was good quality. It was a really beautiful frame. But secondly, I just was panicking because I had one day, one clear day, it was in the evening when this happened, and the next day I had free, and then the day after I was supposed to drop off my work. So I was frantically thinking, what can I do? I've got to find another frame. And of course I didn't have another frame, because then I began the frantic Googling to see if I could find a frame shop that would deliver the next day. I remember finding one and paying not only extortionate postage, but buying 2 frames just in case one of them snapped, because I suddenly became so paranoid that every frame I touched was gonna disintegrate. The next day, just desperately searching shops near me to see if I could find a frame that was the same size, even though I'd ordered things online. I didn't know if they were gonna show up, which they did. They did show up at 6 o'clock by some kind of miracle. And locally I was able to buy another frame as well, but it wasn't very good. So I was just so thankful that it all solved itself and I was able to deliver my art successfully. It takes place in a plein air competition in Chelsea, and this was so much fun to take part in. And it was just lots of artists going out in Chelsea and painting a landscape, and then we would give it in to the gallery, and then the next day our work would be displayed in the gallery, and there was judges looking at the work, and it was just such an incredible experience. I am not, sadly, from Chelsea. I wish I was posh, but sadly I'm not. I actually grew up in South London, and so I don't know, although I've been to Chelsea loads of times, I don't know the secret areas in Chelsea that look really beautiful. Because Chelsea is beautiful in itself, but if you really know Chelsea well, if you really know any area well, you know the really great places to paint, because places can look nice, but to actually have a great area to paint is something quite different. And so when I got to the place where we were going to be exhibiting, I kind of looked around the area and I thought, I can't really go very far because we've got a time limit of a few hours. Literally, I think it was probably till 5 or something. We started up at 10 in the morning, 9, 10. So it wasn't very long. So I thought I have a few hours to paint, and I was painting with oil, so it's a pretty long process. So I thought I'm going to have to go somewhere quite close to where we're exhibiting. So I found this really beautiful park, which was opposite where we were about to exhibit, where we had to leave our work. So I thought this is perfect. It was a very lovely looking park. So I went to the park, and there were some other artists from the competition also setting up their little mini easels things there. So I found this little bench, and I got my paints all set up, and I was really enjoying myself. The sun was shining, and I got lots of people coming up to me saying, I really like your art, you know, what's it going to look like? And, you know, I just had some wonderful comments from people, which I always like when I paint outside. The thing I was not anticipating, I was racing away trying to finish this painting, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this guy carrying a bottle of champagne in his hand, and I looked at him and we made eye contact, and I thought, oh no, because I saw the look on his face. Firstly, he looked like he could be drunk, and secondly, I thought somebody drinking in a park. And I also thought, and now thinking back on it, how funny, like, you know, drunks that I know from where I live, they have a beer, but of course it's Chelsea, so the drunks there, they stagger around with champagne, obviously. And so he was sort of walking a bit funny, and he kind of looked at me, and he saw that there was a space next to me on the bench, and I thought, oh my god, no. And I kept thinking I should have just thrown my coat over there, but being British, being so polite, I thought, I can't do that. I have to be polite. So anyway, this drunk sat next to me and started to tell me his life story. And in my head, I was just thinking, please go away. Like, ordinarily, I would have just walked out the park. It wouldn't have bothered me at all. But I couldn't leave because I had to paint that scene ahead of me. And he obviously knew that I couldn't leave because he suddenly realised that I finally have an audience for my boring drunk stories. So he just wouldn't, he wouldn't A, shut up, and B, he wouldn't go away. And I was trying really hard to concentrate. Also, all the other artists who were working near me saw what was going on, and they were cracking up. It was pretty rude. I wasn't even really responding to what he was saying. He just was so persistent, he just wouldn't go away. And so in the end, I think he left after I think he got fed up because I wasn't really paying attention to him. But it literally took over an hour for him to go, and it was so annoying. It's so funny because whenever I think back to that incredible experience, I will never forget that whole thing of just trying so hard to get rid of him and not being able to. The final story is about exhibiting once again, my run up to exhibition day, and I had, this time my frame was fine, but funnily enough, I had actually been accepted to this gallery quite close to the exhibition date. So they told me that I got in, which was amazing. But the exhibition date was quite close to when I'd been notified. And so I was kind of still working on my paintings when I'd submitted my work. And I thought, oh, it'll be fine. They'll all just dry and everything by then. I was actually using water mixable paints. So I got the frames and everything all lined up, but the paintings weren't quite dry yet. So I thought it'll be fine, I'll just leave them next to the frame, and a couple of days before exhibition time, I will just put them in the frame. Anyway, a couple of days before exhibition date, I was about to put my paintings in the frame, and they weren't dry. I know, can you believe it? Sad times. I was frantic. I was thinking, why isn't this drying? And I used really high quality water mixable paints, but I just meant to make a confession that I have not used water mixable paints since then, because it's scarred me for life. So I was frantically trying to work out what to do. I was looking on the internet for all kinds of help, and I've seen this actually many times before, and I heard other artists use this technique, which is basically just to bake their paintings in the oven. But I thought about it, and I just thought it's too risky, because in case I burn the painting, I was just having all these kind of nightmares about it. So instead of doing that, I thought I'd try the old hairdryer thing. So I grabbed my hairdryer, and I was pretty much hair drying my paintings for 2 days before the exhibition, and they were not drying. So in the end, the night before I was supposed to be dropping off my art, I got out a cloth and wiped off the paint that was from the final layer, which was the paint that wasn't drying for some reason. And so I was desperately wiping it off, and that actually solved the issue, because luckily I had the layer underneath was completely dry and it actually looked fine. But I'd done sort of detail work on top of that and I just had to wipe it all off, which is really tragic. But anyway, in the end it was fine. It was just a mad dash of terror. Disastrous stories, please let me know all your disastrous stories. Let's share in the disasters. I hope you have enjoyed this video and please join me in the speed paint that is happening in a moment. I don't know whether you know if you're not from England, but it's actually snowing here and it's been snowing for sort of a week, which is really comical because I think I mentioned it before on my channel. Whenever it snows in England ordinarily, we would have updates every single second on the news, like it's snowing, it's still snowing, and what kind of snow, and where the snow is, and what it feels like, and how cold it is, and we'd have all these updates. But because COVID is happening, there's actually been much less updates about the snow. And so I was kind of thinking it's probably a lot less bad outside than it actually is. And so I've still been going out for like walks in the nature and everything, but it has been super slippery and pretty treacherous outside. And yesterday I was feeling sorry for myself very briefly because I actually fell over in the snow. I know it's tragic. I was being so careful because I kept thinking I'm not going to fall over, I'm going to take it really slowly and I'm only going to walk on the grassy bits. But unfortunately, it's just not possible to always avoid the snow where I am at some point. And it was very deceptive and sneaky snow because it was on the side of the road and it looked like there was no snow at all, but actually it was snow. No, sorry, it was not snow. In fact, it wasn't snow, it was ice disguised as the pavement. And so I put my foot on it and just slid across, and there weren't any cars. You know, generally speaking, near where I live, there aren't many cars anyway, but there weren't any cars, so it was fine. And I just slipped and fell in the road, which was really embarrassing. And I actually was more embarrassed that I'd fallen than actually that I had injured myself, because fortunately I fell on my bum. And this is one advantage of being a woman, because you do have that soft cushion to stop your fall. So that was quite funny and it was an experience. In terms of this painting, I was having so much fun painting dragons. I'm still working on dragon art. I may delve into more fairies and fantastical worlds. I'm really thinking about painting some more forests. I'm working on a forest with the dragon at the moment, but I may go sort of into very deep forests, even more intense forests with more trees in the following weeks. And when I was painting this, I was thinking about what is the most fearsome creature you could think of, and what would you do if you encountered a fearsome creature. Now, I know that if I was to encounter a dangerous looking dragon like this one in the water, I don't think I would face the dragon, because ultimately I am not that brave. I think I would take the sword with me in case there was a dragon, and then I would probably run if I saw the dragon. And I think that that is the more sensible thing to do. So I do hope you like this oil painting. If you would like to see the story, read about the story, all behind it, then I have it written on my Instagram, so please follow me on Instagram. It would be great to see you there, and I will see you next week.